I don't need to introduce what I'm doing here. You saw the title. I'm just going to skip right into the tier list making. Before I tell you the tier list, no, I'm not that good, and I cannot rate one brawler, and I'll tell you later who it is because I don't have him. If you have different opinions, please tell me in the comments. Now first on our list is 8-Bit. I'm going to put 8-Bit in B tier. 8-Bit is good. In my opinion, he has a sort of useless special. So he's not A, but he has some good gadgets. Next up is Amber. Amber is B as well. She's unique. She's a unique brawler. She has fun gameplay, and she can be pretty good, but there's a lot of brawlers that do counter her, so that's why she's an A. Next up, we have Ash. I'm gonna put Ash in C tier because Ash doesn't do a lot of damage, like too short ranged. His minions could be a bit stronger. Next up is Barley. This is a classic brawler. A tier, he can throw far. You know what? No. B tier, because A tier is Barry. Barry's attacks are stronger. They can heal teammates. He's really good. His special is also really good. Next up is B. B is going to go in C tier. Her attack's not that strong. It's kind of hard to hit. It takes a long time, like a really long time, to destroy boxes. She could have a faster reload speed. Next is Belle. I've never understood Belle. I'm going to put her at D tier because I just don't know how to play her. I don't know what any of her attacks mean. I barely have any trophies on her. Next up is BB. BB is okay. I'm going to put her at B tier. She has that attack where she knocks back brawlers, which Piper counters her. So, and really any long-range brawlers, because she can no longer hit them, but they can still hit her. Next up is Bonnie. Bonnie is going in A tier. She's cool. She's a unique brawler again. I know she's not very strong without her tank or rocket or whatever you want to call it. But she has a pretty strong attack and some good gadgets and all that stuff. Next up is Bo. Bo is also going to go in A tier. Bo is a good brawler. He has strong attacks, a lot of damage, and he's just not just good enough to go into S tier because of his super, not being able to, it takes too long to explode his bombs in his super. Next up is Brock. Brock is going to go in B tier because he's strong, he has a lot of damage. It's just really easy to get away from his special attack. So that's why he's B tier. Bull is going to be C tier. He's powerful, but he's just kind of annoying to use, and I'm just not good with him, which is most of the reason why some of these brawlers are getting a lot lower. Next up is Buzz. I'm going to put him at A tier. A lot of damage, good super, good gadgets, just not enough to be S tier. Next up is Byron. Byron is C tier. He doesn't do a lot of damage. He's just not a very good brawler because, he can heal teammates, but he's only good in duo showdown, maybe knockout, but you couldn't use him a lot. I don't think he's good enough to get even B. Next up is Carl. I like Carl. Carl's going in B tier. He's good. He could be a little stronger. He's fun to use. Colette is C tier. Colette doesn't do that much damage. Her super can kind of be useless sometimes. And next is Colt. Colt is an original brawler. He's going to go in A tier because he does a lot of damage and can break through walls. Next up is Crow. Crow's in D tier. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people like Crow a lot. I just don't like Crow. He doesn't do a lot of damage. His super doesn't do a lot of damage. It's just annoying when other people can't heal, and then most of the time other people get the knockouts for me, and it's kind of annoying sometimes when I use him. Next is Daryl. Daryl's really good. I think I'm going to put Daryl A tier. He has a very fun gameplay, and he's very good with short range and medium range, and he can get into fights really easily and destroy them. Next up is Edgar. Now, I know a lot of people don't like Edgar, but I think I'm going to put him as my first S tier. Don't judge me, I'm an Edgar main, and he is very good to jump in on attacks. Especially, I win almost every single game in duels when I play with him. That's why I'm putting him S tier. There's a lot of other factors too. Enz is going to be in B tier. Not the best, but a lot of damage and annoying to play against. Eve is also going to be my third D tier. Eve is not the best, doesn't do a lot of damage. Her super barely does any damage. And the walking on water was neat, and I think it was pretty cool until they added Angelo, so now she's D tier. Fang. Everybody I know loves Fang. They think he's really good. I don't know how to play with him. I don't know what makes him good. I'm so sorry if this offends you or if you like him a lot. I'm going to put him as D tier. I'm so sorry. Frank. Frank is going to be an A tier. Strong, it's just not an S tier because he takes a long time to load his attacks. And his skins are really cool too. Next up is Gale. Gale is going to be C tier. He doesn't do a lot of damage. I think there's better brawlers that are like versions of him. Gene is D tier. I remember a long time ago I got Gene. I just never really liked him. He's just kind of useless, I could say. His super is a cool concept. It's just not as powerful, I think, as Supercell intended it to be. Next up is Griff. Griff is going to be C tier for this reason. It takes a lot of effort to hit his attacks. So if you miss one attack and it takes a long time to reload, you're not going to get a lot more attacks in, and it's just not a lot of damage and too long of a reload speed. Next up is Grom. I never really liked Grom. I'm going to put him at C tier because he's not terrible. He's a good thrower, not as good as Barry though, and he's pretty powerful. It's just a little... He doesn't do enough damage, I don't think, and his reload speed is way too slow. Now it's Jackie. Jackie is a very short-range brawler, but she has a really cool concept, so I'm going to put her at normal, not bad. Janet. D tier. Janet is not fun to play, and she's not very good because you have to aim all of your attacks if you want to be long range. But again, cool concept, really cool concept. It's just not as good as I think Supercell wanted it to be. Jessie is okay. I'm gonna put her at normal. There's not really a lot of reasons. She's just not good to be A. She's not good enough to be A, not bad to be C, so in the middle, B. Leon. I actually recently got Leon. Leon can turn invisible, but it's just his attacks don't do a lot, and I just don't think he's really good at trickery. I'm not good with him. Other people, if it was other people that was good with him, I would put A, but since I'm bad with him, I'm going to put C tier. Next is Lou, D tier, because no damage, just not, and his super is not very powerful at all. Okay, next up, Max. Max is going to go in A tier. Max is good. She can speed up her helpers and herself, and she does a lot of damage with her attack. Just not good enough to be an S tier. Dynamite is our second S tier. Dynamite is really, really good, and he has that really good stun gadget that can basically kill a lot of brawlers other than like really high leveled ones. They have high health like Frank, sometimes Daryl, Meg. Next up is Mortis. I don't like Mortis, C tier. Not very fun to play, kind of annoying, and takes way too much effort to hit an attack. Mr. P is going to be in C tier because he doesn't, he has a cool concept again, but he's just not powerful enough. I think if his briefcases, after he hits them, if they flew a little bit farther, he could be maybe even up to A tier. Next up is Nani, decent brawler, B tier. Just a lot of damage, very, very cool concept, and I like her special. Nita is okay, B tier, because her bear attack is kind of weak, but it can find other enemies. That's one good thing about her. Otis, I used to use Otis all the time. I'm gonna put him at B tier, because Otis is, his star can maybe make enemies not be able to shoot for a little longer, and then he would probably get up to A tier. Okay, Pam, not good, don't like Pam. Her super doesn't do much. It's just kind of annoying. It's easy to break. Her normal attack is extremely hard to hit. She's just not the best. Penny, I don't like Penny much either, but she does have a splash attack, and her bombs can find enemies, just like Nita's, so B tier. Piper, S tier. Piper is very fun to play. It's very fun when you hit a shot. It's satisfying when you hit one, and I just really like playing her, especially in Knockout. Okay, next up is Poco, the best healer in the game apparently. Well, he's not that good, B tier, because, I don't know, I just never really liked rare brawlers much, especially Poco. I just never really used him, so I don't know much about him. El Primo is A tier. El Primo is good. He can jump in on enemies just like Edgar, but he's just kind of maybe a little stronger, but a little worse version of Edgar. Now Rico. Rico he's good. He has very cool skins. I have his hypercharge skin, but he doesn't, it's kind of hard to use his bounce attack, so I'm going to put him at A tier, not S tier. Rosa is C tier. Some may argue that she's really good, but her super is not very helpful. Ruffs, Colonel Ruffs, C tier. He's that brawler that you have, but you never really use. But he's not horrible. He's decent. He has a cool concept like Rico, but worse, and his super takes too long to hit the ground. Next up is Sandy, A tier. Not good enough for S tier. Sandy is really good. He has a good super attack, kind of like Leon's, but for the whole team, but in a smaller area, and he does a lot of damage too. Next up is Shelly, the original brawler. B tier, because Her super is very powerful and good. She has good gadgets, just not good enough for A tier or S tier because since she's the starting brawler, she's too basic and she's not very fun to play with most of the time. Next up is Lola, D tier. I do not like Lola, I never have. I've only played her a few times and I just don't understand her a lot. Next up is Meg. There's another S tier. She's very powerful. She's good in special events most of the time, and she does a lot of damage. And her 2 lives is a very good thing that she has. Without it, she would probably be B tier. Okay, next is my favorite brawler, Spike, S tier obviously. I have his poop skin, so I like him even more. Spike is really good, really powerful. He has a very good normal attack, and his special attack can slow down enemies really well, especially with his hypercharge. So S tier. Next up is Sprout. I don't like Sprout much. C tier. Not very powerful. His super is kind of like a lose-lose situation. It's bad for the enemies and you most of the time. Next brawler is Squeak, S tier. Squeak is very good in Hot Zone and has a very good design, and he's really cute. I would probably have a pet Squeak if I could. Next up is Stu. Stu is a normal brawler. He's good, but not amazing, and not bad, so B tier. Surge is going to be A tier. I really like Surge. He's powerful, and he has a good design and concept, and he can jump over walls, and his special doesn't take as much to charge for compared to a lot of other brawlers. Next up is Tara. Now I have a lot of friends who really like Tara. I don't really like Tara, but since I have friends that like her, I'm gonna put her at C tier. She's just not really good. I mean, her super can break walls, but not many of them. And I know her hypercharge is good, but her normal attack does not do a lot of, it doesn't do a lot of damage, and it takes a long time to reload. Next up is Tick. Tick, I never really liked him. I'm gonna put him at B tier because he doesn't really, his normal attack you can run away from really easily, but his super does do a lot of damage, so he's not C tier. Next up is Gus. I actually got Gus as soon as he came out. He was the most recent super rare brawler. I'm gonna put him at B tier because he has a good special attack. He has good gadgets. His normal attack does a good amount of damage. Sam, I'm gonna put at D tier because he doesn't do a lot of damage. It takes a long time to get his super back, and he doesn't really have the best gadgets. Buster is kind of like Sam, but a little better, more powerful. His super doesn't do much. If you know how to counter it, just don't shoot at it. So that's why he's C tier. Next up is Chester. Chester, I've heard a lot of good things about him. I haven't used him much yet, so I'm gonna put him at B tier. Next brawler is Gray. We could unlock him from a quest a while ago. I'm gonna put him at B tier. He has a good teleporting attack, not just for himself, but for the whole team. And his normal attack can go pretty far. It can do a decent amount of damage. Next up is Mandy. Mandy's special attack does a lot of damage, but it's just hard to hit, so I'm gonna put her at C tier. Next up is RT. RT he's a good brawler. He just doesn't have a lot of unique stuff, and his it's hard to get back to his normal state after you've already used his super. So I'm going to put him at B tier. Next is Willow, C tier. She's not the best. She can poison, kind of annoying like Crow, but nothing S tier worthy. Hank is also C tier. Not the best, it's hard to hit his shots, and it takes a while to blow up his bubble, and his super it does a lot of damage, but it's hard to hit. Next up is Macy, who's going to be a C tier. I don't use Macy a lot, I don't really have much to say about her. Now, Cordelius is the brawler that I can't rate because I don't have him, but what I know about him is that he is a B tier. Next up is Doug. I think Doug is a D tier because he's annoying to play with and hard to hit shots with and too short ranged. Pearl is C tier, not the best. I like when I can get her fire up, it's just not the best concept. Next up is Charlie. Charlie is a brawler who you have but you don't use again, and she's not that powerful. Miko is a D tier. He can jump over walls, he can be countered by a lot of brawlers, and his super doesn't do much damage. He's just hard to play with a lot of the time. Kit is an S tier. Kit is very powerful. Kit can jump on enemies and become a thrower. Very unique. Larry and Lori is an A tier. Larry and Lori is very powerful. 2 shots that do a lot of damage for 1 attack that they do. And the special could be a little bit stronger, but still A tier. Angelo is A tier as well. He can be powerful. He's good on a lot of maps. He can walk on water. Next one is Melody. I don't like Melody. I'm going to put her at B tier because I know a lot of people like her. I just don't for some reason. There's 3 more. Draco is an A tier. No, B tier. Not very powerful. Could be powerful if you know how to use him correctly. I don't though. Lily is pretty powerful, A tier, and can pretty overpowered. And then Clancy, the newest brawler, I don't like him, B tier. Now a brawler that I didn't say on here, because this is a kind of old tier list, is Kenji. I think Kenji is an S tier because he's way overpowered. I hope he doesn't get nerfed, but he probably will be. This is the final tier list. Well, thank you guys for watching. Thank you tiermaker.com for helping me make this. This is the site that I use it on. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.